the media lecture series. Today we're going to have the founder and executive director of the San Diego Media Arts Center, Theo. So I want to just thank you all for coming out. Before we get started, I want to thank the Six College Student Council for funding the event and helping us put this lecture series on. I also like to thank Ethan and Elaine Scott, our advisors, who also helped make this event possible. And finally, our new sponsors, the Secret Cookie Service, who I'm sure many of you guys are fans of, are sponsoring the event, so afterwards we'll be able to have refreshments sponsored by them. So that'll be outside following the lecture. And then, so we have an awesome speaker today. And before we kind of call him up, I just want to give you guys a little intro as to who's talking. So Ethan and Theo is the founder and executive director of the Media Arts Center of San Diego. Since 1989, he's been working in media arts field programming, Latino film festivals for UC Santa Cruz, Cine Acción in San Francisco, Cine Estudiantil in UC San Diego, and the National Latino Communication Center in Los Angeles. He has curated literally thousands of screenings of festivals and special events in Mexico City, Morelia, Las Cruces, Nuevo Laredo, San Antonio, Tijuana, Sacramento, and San Diego. In 1995, Theo transformed the Cine Estudiantil into the internationally known and respected San Diego Latino Film Festival, which recently celebrated its 15th anniversary in March of 2008. In 1999, to broaden the scope of the festival and to serve more communities in San Diego County and the Tijuana border region, Theo established Media Arts Center San Diego, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. As the executive director, he founded such innovative programs as the Digital Story Station, Cinema and Tu Idioma, Tu Voz TV, Open Screening Night, and Cineclub, as well as the acclaimed Teen Producers Project. The Digital Story Station is now in 21 libraries across the state of California, and as founder of the organization's TPP, he has overseen and acted as executive producer on over 300 short videos and documentaries produced by youth since 2001. He's been featured in San Diego Union Tribune, Los Angeles Times, San Francisco Chronicle, and numerous local and national television and radio outlets. Numerous local awards Ethan has received include San Diego Metropolitan Magazine's 40 Under 40 Award, One to Watch feature article in the San Diego Union Tribune in December of 2006. He's been invited to speak at such important events as the National Association of Arts and Culture Annual Conference, National Association of Latino Arts and Culture Annual Conference, and the American Library Association Annual Conference. And now he can add the Video Production Club, Racialization in the Media Lecture Series. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Ethan and Theo.
Thanks for the invite. It's awesome to be back here at UCSD. Kind of mentioned quickly, you mentioned UCSD is when I graduated from UC Santa Cruz, came back down to the San Diego area, and one thing that I kind of knew how to do, what I learned at UC Santa Cruz, was how to get funding, how to get money from UC Santa Cruz. So I immediately connected with Voz Fronteriza, the newspaper. Voz Fronteriza was the first kind of connection here in San Diego, student-run newspaper, and that's where we got to start and founded what now is the San Diego Latino Film Festival. So it's kind of exciting to be back here and solve all full circle. Tonight's talk, if you guys saw the presentation by Ripstein to Mori, 19 years in K. And that's because 19 years is how long our film festival, the San Diego Latino Film Festival, has been going. It started as a small student Latino film festival, and then now has grown to an event that attracts close to 20,000 people. We have 4 screens, close to 190 films, 120 actors and directors coming to town. And it's really turned into a wonderful celebration of Latino cinema. But what has happened in this 18 years? Why did we start the film festival in the first place? So my first question to you guys is, well, what's the last Latino film that you've seen? It could be in Spanish, it could be Portuguese, or it could be in English, but name a Latino film you saw.
Sin nombre.
Sin nombre, that's an awesome one. Good call, good call. So how, oh,
Title right now, we're still on like, something like that, a monster.
that's awesome. You know, that photo was great.
Amores Perros?
Another good one. Iñárritu. Anyone else? So how many people are in the room here? This is 20, 25, 20? So 3 out of 20 have seen a Latino film? 4. That shows you the challenges that we have of even promoting Latino cinema. Going back to when I was in a Chicano Studies class about 23 years ago, I would say, 24 years ago, just the concept of Chicano cinema came up to me for the first time. Does anyone know what Chicano cinema is? Chicano cinema is really what is a precursor of Latino cinema, so it's turned into Latino cinema, but it really started with this concept of Chicano cinema. So I don't want you to get that as an important starting point. In the 60s, with the Chicano movement and the many different student movements that were taking place in the 60s, a lot of the Chicano activists in the time saw the need to tell a more accurate portrayal of their community and to use media for social change as part of the movement. Before the 60s, any Latinos that you were seeing on screen, like Ricardo Montalban, for example, here in the U.S., were what they usually refer to greasers, sex symbols, or definitely thieves. So there was this early interest with the Chicano community in the 60s to combat that, to say, well, we're not going to stand for this anymore. We're going to stop this thing. Most of the Latinos that you were seeing, like Ricardo Montalban, for example, they're the sexy Latino symbol and stereotype that we all see. And if there was a woman in the old films in the 30s and 40s, she was probably like a whore. The portrayal of Latinos was so disgusting in those times. And so in the 60s, part of the Chicano movement was, okay, we're gonna change this. So who's heard of Luis Valdez? Luis Valdez, more famous for being what? Director, yeah, more famous. He started as a playwright, and San Juan Bautista. His theater is still there, up there, kind of in the Watsonville, Salinas area. But he was a playwright who took plays to the Cesar Chavez marches. He was there, and while the marches were going on, he would put on the plays, and the plays would, of course, reenact what was happening. So the patron and the workers, and then he would create these wonderful stories. Well, he was one of the first Chicano filmmakers, too. He, in the late 60s, then became and started working on films. How about Moctezuma Sparsa? Does that name ring a bell? Moctezuma Sparsa? Moctezuma Sparsa was part of the student walkout. There was a neat HBO movie called Walkout. I would suggest that you check that out. And Walkout is kind of part of Moctezuma Sparsa's experience in the student walkouts in the LA's in the late 60s, early 70s. Moctezuma Sparsa is now someone who's made Milagro Beanfield, made HBO films. He's now started his own distribution company called Maya Cinema. He has his own chain of movie theaters. He's definitely someone as a great model of what's happening in terms of Chicano cinema. Definitely, you don't hear me talking about many women, do you? Definitely Chicano movement in general, and especially Chicano cinema. At that time, there were not, unfortunately, too many strong Chicano filmmakers that were coming out at that time. So we have this term Chicano movement. So that's Chicano cinema. So that's the first thing that I learned in terms of college and university. But a lot has changed since then. And so when I started the film festival 19 years ago, we started with, hey, we're going to screen a Chicano film festival, you know, Chicano, definitely, so that means it's U.S. Latino-based filmmakers of Latino descent here in the United States, primarily Mexican-American origin. But over the years, and this is what's happened in general with Latino cinema, is that I call it the internationalization of Latino cinema. So you saw, beginning in the late 90s, early 2000s, where now Latino cinema had a different kind of connotation, where before it was very Chicano, Edward James Olmos, East LA, Lowriders. Then it started to move into new directions, and we started to celebrate filmmakers like Guillermo del Toro, or we heard about actors like Gabriel Bernal, and so this idea of internationalization of Latino cinema, and then also this idea of films coming from all over the world. So I thought I would just show a little bit of an example of what we consider Latino cinema today, because it's really very diverse, very diverse. I'm going to show a DVD of a Brazilian film.
I have a question.
Huh?
This might seem like really ignorant, but what is the difference between Chicano and Latino?
No, it's not ignorant at all. I mean, Chicano, I kind of use them both as the same. However, a lot of Chicano activists will not use them as the same. Chicano activists, again, we're talking about Mexican Americans, and primarily are Chicano activists, so there's a broader definition of that. But it's someone who definitely believes in social engagement, activism, believes that they want to take back Aztlán, they want to take back the land that was stolen from Mexico in the 1800s. So there's an activist point of view, definitely associated with Chicano. So when someone says I'm a Chicano, or talks about Chicano as a film, there's definitely more leaning towards that activism. Latino now is turned into more of a broader term. That's probably more, well, the corporate world uses Hispanics. Latinos kind of somewhere maybe more in a university setting, but it's definitely not just Mexican American, it's Brazilian American, Puerto Rican American, Chilean American, and that's one of the big things that we've seen. Again, this is something that's interesting that's taking place over the years, is just getting people to understand in the entertainment industry, for example, that Latino or Chicano, it means a lot more than just, again, East LA, gangbanger, and the lowrider. That's kind of what the perception of Latinos were. And so the idea that there's New York, Puerto Ricans, Miami, Cuban Americans, there's so many, the Latino community is so diverse, and that's really crucial to celebrate. And that's what we do with the film festival, is that we have 4 different screens taking place. So you can see a Chilean film, you can see a Brazilian film, you can see a Chicano film, and then you can see an Argentine film, all at the same time. And everyone from their respective communities, they come out and enjoy it. And it's so important. One of the reasons we started the film festival was because if you imagine growing up, because I talked about like this idea of the greasers and these bad stereotypes in the 30s and 40s. Well, unfortunately, despite the Chicano movement, those bad stereotypes did not stop. So imagine yourself growing up as a young Chicano, young Latino, and all that you see of yourself on the screen. Well, first of all, you probably see, if there's anyone that sort of looks like yours, Latino, they're probably blondish, right? Because if you look at all the telenovelas and all this, any Latino, most of the Latinos that are on TV or film are kind of blonder in nature. You don't see any indigenous Latinos on the screen. And then if you see them on the TV or on film, it's, again, they're gangbangers, they're just, they're only a maid. You don't see any positive role models, that they're doctors, they're lawyers. So, and then on top of all that, you're living in a community where your news media, so on top of Hollywood telling you that you're a gangbanger and you're not going to amount to anything, then you have the news outlets that are just telling 50 people were murdered in Barrio Logan yesterday, and don't go to city heights, and all these immigrants taking our jobs, so the negative portrayal of the community. So imagine yourself growing up all your life with that perception of yourself. But what you know deep inside that it's not real. What you're seeing around with your family and the hard workers and the stories of your family and why you came here. And there's so many different real stories to be told, but you're not being told that. So you're just inundated with that negativity of yourself. So when we started the film festival, that was the important thing, is to show a positive light and more accurate portrayal. So imagine a film festival where someone can now come into San Diego, again, 19 years ago it didn't happen, where an Argentinian individual can come in and see themselves on the screen. They hear their own dialect, they say, oh my gosh, that's the town I'm from, and that person's a doctor, and yeah, that person's having marital problems, or there's still craziness going on the screen. It's not all perfect, but this idea of self-worth and self-identity. So when we talk about the media and the power of media, it's really important that one see themselves in the media. And the reason I talk about 19 years in gay is has it gotten better? 3 of you out of 20-some have seen a Latino film, but that's not too good. And okay, what Latino actors do you guys know on TV right now? Who's the big one right now? You guys got to know her. Come on. Huh? Sort of an actor. No, you shouldn't. No, she's huge. Anyone else?
I forget the name of Monica.
Yeah, Sophia. I forgot.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, she's huge. Yeah, has their image changed? I mean, how does that? Are they positive images for?
The women's image changed, right?
Huh?
The women's image has changed, because now they're portrayed as just beautiful women.
Yeah. I would argue, and that's why 19 years ago, I would argue that unfortunately the images haven't changed too much in media. There's still sexy Latino women who, better watch out because they're going to take your man. That's I can tell you that right now. That's what they always are doing, right? And that's what media wants you to believe. And the men roles have gotten a little better, but Puss in Boots, Antonio Banderas, he's the sexy Latino who's gonna take your woman. But let's go again and talk about the diversity of Latinos, because you guys asked, that was an awesome question. And so this is an example of one of the films that we screened at the most recent film festival, and just showing the diversity of the Latino community and of Latino cinema. I hope there's not a little we're in trouble.
Eu encontrei ele assim na rua e ele deu sorte que eu estava dentro do táxi, a gente trouxe ele pra cá.
Como que é?
Eu encontrei ele assim na rua, aí eu estava no táxi, ele deu sorte e a gente trouxe ele pra cá.
Olha, mais sorte que isso. É, só se tivesse sido atropelado por uma ambulância.
Ele é meu amigo, tá?
Qual que é o nome dele?
É Maurício.
Maurício? Está me ouvindo? Tá tudo bem com ele? A gente vai fazer o possível, tá? Cadê o pé dele? O pé dele? Vocês não perceberam que está sem pé? Calma, calma. A gente pode tentar reimplantar, né? Mas vocês precisam trazer o pé de volta pra cá.
A gente?
A gente não sabe onde não. Vocês entenderam? É assim, vocês trazem ou eles aceitam. Uma hora no máximo. Bem?
Ei! As cores a gente não vai achar. Tem aqui, ó. Caralho, isso pra lá. Mal, muito forte. Acho que é aquilo ali, ó. Você sabe, né? Tem um monte de lixo no meio. Vai lá ver. Hã? Você pode ir até lá? Se eu soltar a lanterna aqui não vai dar, né? De novo.
Parei. Joguei tudo fora.
Como assim, cara?
Vou mudar de vida. Depois dessa não dá não. Ó.
Entendi.
Parei, tô te falando que eu parei, né? Mãe. Ó.
Aí, o que vocês estão fazendo aí, mano?
Porra.
Aí, posso dar um pega? Aí, vai passando relógio, carteira, dinheiro. Passa tudo, mano. Vai passando tudo, mano.
Tamo no corre também.
Pô, mano, que coisa que é, mano? Vamos, acelera o processo aí. Vocês ficam fumando droga, aí ficam lesadão. Aí daí, não há problema. Vamos, parceiro, vamos, tamo junto ou não tamo? Vamos, mano.
Dá logo essa porra pra ele.
Passa dinheirinho. Boa. Tá surdo, mano? Passa tudo. Passa esse saco aí.
Cara, deixa eu te explicar.
Deixa eu te explicar. Tu acha que eu tô aqui de brincadeira, mano? Na moral? Porra, você tá tudo com o maior respeito aqui, trocando uma ideia na boa contigo. Porra, não entendendo não, parceiro. Vocês ficam vacilando aí? A quebrada aqui é perigosa, hein, meu irmão? Tá rolando assalto direto, entendeu? Cuidado aí, galera. Tamo junto.
O cara levou o pé. Filha da puta levou o pé.
Eu vi. Vai devagar que isso não é gente.
Podia jogar o pé. Veio o pé. Eu não sei mais se é o Cássio, não é? Eu não sou suspeito já.
informações.
Se fuderam. Deixa que eu falo.
O senhor está nervoso?
Não, eu vou levar esse meu amigo aqui pro hospital.
O senhor está muito nervoso. Vem em zigue-zague. Encosta ali para o senhor se acalmar. Vai.
Você fumou maconha?
Sim.
Fala a verdade! Desce do carro. Mão no capô. Tem maconha dentro?
Não,
Tá cheiro de maconha aqui, hein?
tá nada.
Tá me chamando de mentiroso?
Não, senhor, eu...
E o para-choque fica amassado.
Não, isso na verdade a gente estava na ruazinha
Ele
aqui.
foi ver alguma coisa pro senhor?
Não, senhor.
Então o senhor encosta ali. E agora, hein? O que você falou pra eles?
Mas quem disse? Ei, explica isso. Não esquenta com isso não. Fica tranquilo.
Como que ele tá?
Tá bem. Tá um subindo para a cirurgia.
Que bom, que bom. A gente trouxe...
Me explica o que aconteceu.
Eu tava indo pra casa do Maurício. Um táxi. Um tipo discreto, né?
pedi um táxi como se fosse um passageiro comum, não? Tu não me remonta agora? Quem é? Maurício. Vem cá. Fala uma mostragem, hein? Alô? A época que eu tava chegando na rua, eu posso fazer isso, eu tenho uma noção, muito absurdo. A própria parada eu te mostro, entendeu? Que até você mesmo, assim, você fala, calma, ele tava jogado no chão. Relaxa, relaxa. Não fica olhando pra trás, soltando balão. Eu não fiquei, calma, relaxa. Ó, olha pra frente, pronto. Para de ficar olhando. Tipo assim, relaxa. Eu não sei, eu acho que alguém atropelou e fugiu, eu não sei disso. Calma, relaxa. Calma, relaxa. Esse aqui é o motorista do táxi.
Prazer. Não posso entender. Uma pessoa atropelar alguém e fugir.
Hein? A gente trouxe o pé.
Hein?
O pé para o reimplante.
Ah, vocês, claro. Não, os pais já trouxeram o pé para o implante, já está sendo tudo preparado. Esse pé aqui é de mulher. Deve ter uns 2 dias, mais ou menos. Esse pé já passou. Não dá para usar mais, não. Tá bom?
Pronto. O que a gente faz agora?
Esquenta com isso, não? Ok?
But again, what I wanted to show you is an example of the diversity of what we call Latino cinema. So 19 years ago, we wouldn't have been talking about Brazilian cinema or Portuguese. Again, we would have been very focused on U.S. Chicano work. So this is kind of where we have been kind of shifted to, which is kind of exciting because there's so much amazing work. So Brazil, there's directors like Fernando Meirelles. There's films like City of God. There's wonderful films coming from Brazil that you guys should check out if you have a chance. And also, again, we want to show the country, the news media, Hollywood, and everyone that there is a diverse community. So there's Portuguese Americans speaking Portuguese and English, but they're also part of the greater Latino community. And what this is interesting in terms of, this has created an interesting dynamic with U.S. Latino directors who've been here for a while, like the Montezumas Esparsas and the Luis Valdez's, is that now these U.S. Latinos or Chicano filmmakers are really now competing in an international market. Kind of like we all are, right? I mean, the internet, it's all happened to us in terms of we're competing against the labor forces and skills and education around the world. Well, the same thing is happening to local filmmakers. Local, I mean U.S. filmmakers. And so you have like actors, like just Cheech Marin or Esai Morales, and some of these Latino actors who are now like, hey, why is everyone talking about Gabriel Garcia Bernal? He's from Mexico, or Penelope Cruz. What about our U.S. Latina actors? There's so many wonderful Latina actors here, U.S. born. Why aren't they on the shows? Because a lot of the jobs are going to the international actors and directors. And that definitely poses a problem, and I think it's a challenge. However, I have to say is that the international films and so much of the work that comes from Latin America is just so, it's unique, it's engaging, some of these small short films that you see, some of the best stuff has come from short films that I've seen from Latin America, where, you know, if you compare this, for example, with a film from USC or UCLA, like some of our film schools, you know, USC might be very glossy and have 3D and all these effects and stuff like that. But the power of storytelling, you know, the power of stories that come from Latin America and Mexico, honestly can't be beat. And that's why I think Hollywood, which is always just dying for new material, Hollywood just doesn't have any new material at all. I mean, what are we on? Harry Potter this, and Paranormal this, and they just keep on remaking and remaking. So when they meet like a Brazilian director like Fernando Meirelles, or they meet like Alejandro Iñárritu from Mexico, it's like, wow, there's some great storytellers, or Guillermo del Toro's another great, you know, so there's a great storyteller. So one exciting thing about the internet is that this international world that we live in, it's really expanded our opportunities. The sad truth though, and then this is kind of where our organization comes in, is that no one gets to see these films. You know, to this day, even though 19 years, a lot has changed, a lot of good stuff has happened, a lot of new actors and Latinos have made films. You know, when I started the Latino Festival 19 years ago, there was maybe 2 other Latino festivals in the country. San Antonio, Cine Festival, is the first Latino festival, Chicano festival in the country, started in the 70s. And then there was the Chicago Latino Film Festival. Now there's a Latino festival in almost every film festival in almost every city, which is fantastic. You know, so there's been a huge upswing in terms of Latino film festivals, special screenings at local universities, authors, scholars like Sean Noriega writing about Chicano cinema, Rosalina Fregosa writing about Latinas in cinema. So there's been this huge upswing in research, lots of film festivals, but the general audiences are still not seeing it. And that's kind of where our organization has been working so hard at over the years. So not only do we have the Latino Film Festival, but we also, throughout the year, August through November, we release films, Spanish language films, August through November, once a week at the Hazard Center there in Ulster Star Hazard Center in Mission Valley. And the amazing thing about that is that you see what you're up against. You know, we'll screen, we just screened a film from Venezuela called Havana Eva recently. You know, and the challenge is that we're competing against the Hollywood industry that has $30 million budget to release these films. You guys all know that Twilight is opening, right? You gotta know that, otherwise something's wrong, right? I mean, we all know when Puss in Boots came out. We all know, you know, when these latest films come out. Even my kids, you know, they're just trained already. Hey, this movie's coming out, 2 weeks, I can't wait to see it. You know, they know before anyone. So we're being told on multi-mediums, right, whether it's social marketing or TV or radio, you're going to see this, 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 until you feel like, oh my God, I got to see it. You know, but that's because that's what money buys you, is that power to be in all these different media outlets. So unfortunately, when you have a small film like Havana Eva from Venezuela or Cuba, or even you have a film like Rudo y Cursi with Gael Garcia Bernal and David Luna, well-known actors. That film was only screened at landmark theaters. Have any of you been to the landmark theaters? I need some more hands on that one. Because that and there lies the problem, is that you're not, the first problem is you're not seeing Latino cinema. The second problem, you're not seeing even independent cinema or foreign cinema. Landmark theaters is the only place, which again in itself a problem, but it is the only place to see independent cinema and foreign films. And for any filmmakers in the room, the best way to learn how to become a filmmaker is to watch, and don't just watch what Hollywood is telling you to watch. Go see the independent films, go see the foreign films. If expand your horizons. So I think you'll be blown away once you do it. In terms of those studying in ethnic studies, and understanding other cultures, again, one of our biggest problems is that no one's seen these films and or traveling. So if you have a population that's not traveling around the world and or not seeing these films, well, no wonder we think all Muslims are terrorists, right? So one of the great things about cinema, there's a wonderful way to kind of connect people in a visceral way, and learn new things, but learn things in a fun way. Like that film was kind of fun, you know. But heck, I saw a little bit of Brazil that I might not have seen before, you know. And that's the exciting thing is through cinema, through the world of cinema, you get to learn so much, and you're not paying $2,000 to travel on an airline ticket or whatever. So it's exciting the internationalization of cinema, but the sad truth is that the distribution points are still the problem. Even though there's cool things like Netflix and some online sites that are a little better these days, we still have the issue of getting these films out. So really, we need everyone's support to get the word out and to try to see as many independent films, foreign films, or Latino films. So that's a little bit about the international world we kind of live in. The other world we live in is, unfortunately, too, is that mainstream is still powerful. So in my title, Ripstein to Morby, does anyone know who Ripstein is? Andrew. Arturo Ripstein is, he's made about 50 films, 50 feature films. He's one of the foremost art house, artistic directors from Mexico. He is one of the individuals that kind of brought back Mexican cinema. There was a period there was a golden age of Mexican cinema in the 30s and 40s, but then in the 50s and 60s and even in the 70s, it was just turning into just terrible stuff. And so Arturo Ripstein is one of those filmmakers who kind of brought back the art form. His films that screened at Cannes Film Festival and San Sebastian Film Festival. And he made a film called Profundo Carmesí, if you have a chance to see it. Deep Crimson is the English title. Deep Crimson, and it's Arturo Ripstein. So no one knows who Ripstein is. The poor guy went to the film festival recently in San Sebastian. He barely is known anymore, and he ended up in a big fight. He started yelling at everyone because no one appreciates his films. And yes, you could say they're artsy and a little more experimental, and that's why no one watches them. But basically, what we're having right now is also commercialization of Latino cinema. Not only are we looking at international, but now we're looking at the commercialization of the world of cinema. So you have these amazing filmmakers like Ripstein who are now competing with someone like Barbara Mori. So that's the other part of the title, is Mori. Barbara Mori is a telenovela star. Does anyone know what a telenovela is? Soap operas, just like today's soap operas, but the evening soap operas. The most popular TV form, that and soccer probably is the two things to watch. And telenovelas are huge, right? And the Mexican film industry, Latin American industry is all run by the telenovela industry. And they start early, and young kids go up, and then within the Azteca world, or the Televisa world, and then all of a sudden they'll become telenovela stars. And Barbara Mori is one of those individuals. However, recently she's been going into the film world. But again, this goes back to the commercialization of Latino cinema. And so now you have these actors, directors competing against the telenovela stars, where it's more about looks per se and less about the quality of the content in the film. And this is something in Hollywood and the world we live in, right? If you're pretty, then you're going to get into that film. However, this is difficult for audiences to, we have a discussion on what is Latino cinema. Right there, just throwing in that type of commercialization is that the Latino cinema is like all over the place now. So you have a lot of films. Saving Private Pettis was just released in theaters about a month ago. I don't think anyone saw it, so don't be it's not too bad. But that's a film that had all these telenovela stars in it. But that's what they're pushing at. So instead of pushing the Ripsteins of the world, they're pushing the Barrio Memorias of the world, which I believe is detriment to the Latinos. And we need, as everyone, to try to promote quality and artistic films from around the world. So, 19 years, a lot has changed. You know, we do have Jennifer Lopez, we do have Eva Longoria, we do have Puss in Boots, but at the same time, not a lot has changed. We still have a problem with distribution that we, as a society, need to work with. Close to 500 million Latinos, ridiculous amount of Latinos. The population, this U.S. Census shows how many Latinos are here in the United States, and only still maybe you see 1%, 2% of Latinos on the TV screen or film and video. So there's a huge discrepancy there, despite the large population of Latinos that we still can see. So we have a distribution issue that we need to work with, and we have an issue of getting actors on TV, on film, and then behind the camera. We need more directors, we need more writers, we need more producers behind the scenes. And not that they have to produce what we would say Latino content, but they are coming from the Latino kind of community and providing, we hope, better portrayal of images. And so this kind of next step is where our organization is all about, the Media Arts Center San Diego. It's a nonprofit that believes in this importance of the community themselves telling their own story. And this kind of lives in many different ways. We have many different projects. One of our new projects is a cool project. We use mobile phones. We gave 20 iPhones and we're currently working, it's called mobilestories.org. And mobilestories.org is working with kids in the library, at Logan Heights Library, Malcolm X Library, and the Central Library here in San Diego. And this idea is that now with these powerful phones that we have, that they can produce HD quality newscasts, they can upload it immediately to YouTube, and they can tell positive stories of their community. And I think that's where we're at right now. There's so much amazing technology out there that I think all of us in this room, we should take advantage of it. And we should start using the technology to tell the stories of our families, of our communities. Because if you guys don't tell the story, and even if you're not in the filmmaking classes, it doesn't matter. But if you don't tell your story, someone else is going to tell your story for you. Or, even worse, they're not going to tell your story at all. And that's the power of the mainstream media. We don't want Fox News telling what's happening in Logan Heights. We'd rather have kids with cell phones telling what their reality is in Logan Heights. We don't want Hollywood telling the story of the community here. So I encourage all of you to use the new technologies, get engaged. If you guys are interested in helping teens, we always need people to work with our teens in all ages. We also have different types of classes for, like, you want to create animation programs, and then we also have classes for college-age adults on how to produce your own films and videos. If you check out MediaArtsCenter.org, you'll see the website, and you see kind of where we are. We're in the North Park area, and we call it a digital gym. This idea of a place that anyone can come in. It's a storefront right there on the street, and where anyone can come in and learn the skills that you need to survive in this 21st century world we live in, whether it's mobile, whether it's design, because all of us, in any job that we have, or you guys take, or education you pursue, you're going to be using technology and multimedia as much as possible. So we can complain about it, we can complain about the representation of communities on mainstream media. We can complain that there's no films or videos that are being screened that represent the community, or we can do something about it. And I urge everyone to do something about it. That's the kind of the route that I take. Has anyone been to any of the other film festivals here in San Diego?
Film
Festival?
Asian Film Festival just took place?
Italian.
Italian, that's awesome. That just took place recently.
Just the one downtown. I don't know what it's called.
San Diego Film Festival. Yeah, at the Red Excellent. Awesome. There's also the Gay and Lesbian Film Festival, the Jewish Film Festival is in February, African American Film Festival is now in late January. A lot of good groups here in San Diego, not just the Media Arts Center, but a lot of good organizations that are trying to fight for this idea of celebrating diverse medias, celebrating diverse voices. If you're into photography, there's a cool group called AJA Project, AJA Project, that works with refugee youth and primarily the City Heights area. So there's a lot of good examples of good quality organizations trying to better the community. And so where are we going? We're going to continue to produce. We're going to continue to educate. The film festival is going to celebrate its 20th year in 2013, so that's pretty exciting. And we hope that we've changed, and I believe we have, the cultural landscape of San Diego. 19 years ago, 20 years ago, no one even thought, again, well, they didn't even know what Latino cinema is. At least they still might not know what Latino cinema is. But at least they know, they see somewhere in the paper or the TV, oh my God, there's a Latino film festival. You know, there's an Italian or Asian film festival. Just the fact that we're changing people's mind a little teeny bit, even if they don't go, we are changing the cultural landscape. And it just takes that little bit at a time so that slowly people will learn more about independent and foreign film. So again, I encourage you guys, get out there, make your own films. Support the kids that are doing it, and I want to see your stories. We all have a story to tell, and we need you guys to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. All right, so what is your thought on, say, watchdog groups that are kind of pushing for, like, good representation that might, that are, like, obviously good intentions, but maybe pushing for more of, like, a kind of representation of, like, Barbara Moore, as you're saying, and kind of things like that as a way to kind of start, and if using that as an avenue, what is it, like, kind of looking in that direction as a way to kind of break into things and kind of change the cultural landscape, but at the same time, it is problematic to kind of does perpetuate like old ideas that are problematic.
Well, there are some good watch
groups.
The Hispanic Media Coalition, for example, they are fighting, they're based out of LA, they're fighting hate speech, and primarily on the radio. You guys know there's some terrible stuff being said on the radio these days. And so they're actively, with the Southern Poverty Law Center, they're actively trying to shut down shows. There's one going on right now in LA. So I do, Hispanic Media Coalition, I think is great. I think national organizations like NCLR, who just put on the Alma Awards, again, I think that is the challenge. I guess you can't say good or bad, honestly. It's just part of the Latino cinema environment that we live in. Again, 19 years ago, it was really easy for my professor to tell me, hey, this is Chicano cinema. There were just like 5 people. This is Moctezuma Esparza, this is Luis Valdez, and Jesus Trevino. But now it's just expanded so much. And so you have the Barbara Amores, you have the Ripsteins, you have the Del Toros. And what's neat, and I guess is exciting, is that and these organizations, National Association of Latino Independent Producers is another one. It's a national organization, or NCLR. I think they're taking the broad view too, that, we should have some horror films, and we should have some telenovela stars, and we should have some arts films, and we should have some documentaries, a little bit of everything. So I think that's good. But again, I think it's up to the audience to decide with their pocketbook what they're going to see. Go to landmark theaters at least, and just try to support international or foreign films and or independent, U.S. independent. The sad case is that not only are U.S. Latino independent producers struggling to compete against an international market, but U.S. independent filmmakers just all around are competing now. It's hard to see a U.S. independent film now in a movie. Questions?
What was the short clip we watched? Was it from?
The title?
Yeah.
I think it was the worst name.
Yeah, I think, yeah, something like I lost my foot. I'm sorry, that's a basic question I should know. Yeah. Yeah. Pode vidrar, pindar. I don't know Portuguese. Pode, P-O-D-E, and then pidrar, P-I-D-R-A-R. Someone Google that in Portuguese. Pode vidrar. You bring up a good question, or you bring up a good issue. So right now the festival is going to take place in March. So we'll see about 600 films. We'll see 600 films, and then from the 600 choose the 170 or 80 that will fit the film festival. So literally every year I see over 600 films, and so I forget some of the titles, or I forget like when I'm watching sometimes. But some of those films still stick with me, you know. It's amazing the power of some of these short films. I love short films. I think that's another mistake. Again, this goes back to the commercialization. Everyone wants to see the Barbara Mori film or the Gabriel feature, the feature films, right? But they're missing all this. So we have a collection of shorts every year, like different collections of shorts from Brazil or Spain, and you're just missing all of these wonderful stories. I definitely encourage you to go to the shorts when you go to a feature film. Go to the shorts.
I feel like Barbara Mori and your comparison of Barbara Mori and Gabriel is not exactly like the same, because Gabriel Hernandez opened a portal for the international community to understand Latin America from a lower, like grassroots type of religion. Even though he's a public figure, I think what he was saying, like using his popularity as an avenue to open a discourse about Latin American situation, you know. Because Barbara Mori is like,
I completely agree. I would have put those two in the same. Yeah, I was just trying to say Gaia is part of the internationalization of Latino cinema, and he's competing, or U.S. Latino actors are competing against Gaia. But no, Gaia and Barbara Mori are two different, very, very different. Gaia Garcia Bernal and Diego Luna are awesome because they created a company called Hanana Films, and they're actually producing work out of Mexico and promoting, you know, independent films in Mexico, and they also distribute independent films in Mexico. So yeah, I completely agree with you. Different people.
You talk about how distribution is such a problem. Do you think with the internet, that'll play a role in distributing these independent films?
I think more people are seeing them. I think Netflix is awesome. Gosh, you see all of a sudden some documentary pop up or some foreign films that otherwise you wouldn't watch. And again, whether you click on it, you know, but at least hopefully you'll be tempted to click on it. The problem is that the filmmakers, the money, again, goes back to who's making money online, and the filmmakers are still not making enough money online in terms of these international films, I would say. You know, it's amazing how cheap these films are bought, the international films are bought. Someone will pay like as low as $20,000 to get like the U.S. distribution rights, and you know the film was $1 million or something like that. So it takes a lot to get these films to actually cover their expenses. A lot of these producers are losing money. The one thing that I do think the internet is amazing for is not necessarily international or foreign films, but you know some independent producers now taking advantage of Kickstarter.com, like raising money via the internet. So they're building like communities, and they're building like their own. So they get people interested in the issue, then they get people to donate to the film, and then once the film's done, then they distribute them. And they're also independent artists are like being able to sell it too. So raising funds and then selling. Like I would say smaller documentaries. That's something that wouldn't have been done before. You know, 10 years ago, your only avenue was a film festival, but now you do have that avenue. And clearly, you know, YouTube and just short films, I think a lot more people are seeing short films. Question?
I was just thinking that, like, that topic that you're touching on, like, the unavailability of funds for parents or aid or something that would be, maybe you do know, because your events, you should probably get to know something.
Yeah, you know, being a filmmaker is kind of a rich man, as I say man, because again, it's unfortunately primarily men. Rich man's business. So a lot of the filmmakers that we currently see have obviously grown up in affluent families. They can afford to go to NYU or USC. So definitely there's big difficulties of getting more Latinos in the business. However, there are organizations out there. I mentioned National Association of Latino Independent Producers. There are media art centers like ours in every city where they either have grants to make films, access to equipment. So we also give equipment to local filmmakers who want to make a film. We're also a fiscal sponsor for this film. So the cool thing is that there's a lot of good media art centers, a lot of good programs out there. But definitely it is a challenge. Definitely once you start competing with going to film school and everything like that. However, I believe the best way to learn, the best way to become a filmmaker is, yes, get a good BA in like English and travel the world and get a lot of good real world knowledge. Become a writer. But in terms of learning the skills, a lot of it is just going and volunteering and interning on crews. Say, do whatever you want for the next month. Try to do that as much as possible in terms of learning the skills. There's also Latino Public Broadcasting, LPBP it's called. Latino Public Broadcasting helps specifically Latinos get their documentaries onto PBS, which is really cool. It's sometimes easier to get documentary funding than narrative funding. Trying to get a short narrative film funded is really, really hard if you're not a student. Questions?
Sorry. Have you thought about giving films to Latino immigrants to record their process going through especially Central Americans they ride the top of trains for months without nothing and I think that would be
I want to say someone's already done it, and even Sin Nombre, but there was a documentary I saw. It was the same subject where they gave cameras to individuals. And yeah, that's some powerful stuff. But when you do that type of filmmaking, is that you got to be ready for the long haul. It's really interesting that some of these films that we see, we just think, oh gosh, it's amazing how that story took place, and the filmmaker, gosh, how did they put that together? Well, that filmmaker worked 2 to 3 years to get the story arc. There's some of the most powerful documentaries. They give cameras to the individuals, but they take them through a whole year. And so then that documentary filmmaker then has to get all that, imagine all that footage, and then edit it together. Well, first of all, watch it, edit it all together. So that type of documentary filmmaking is challenging at times. It really takes a passion for your subject. You got to have a passion if you're going to get documentary film. Thank you, everyone. Postcards for next year's film festival and some workshop information if you want to check it out.
So feel free to grab some cookies outside and talk amongst yourselves if you guys are Professor Mendel's class or if you have any other questions for Ethan here. Thank you guys again for coming out and look forward to our lecture series next quarter. We're planning again for the next topic. So come check us out. Thanks guys. It's the second floor. Yeah, I mean, we meet at 8, so pretty much the only way. We are use the bronze medals in the 1960s Olympics. He actually taught at my high school, so we're trying to bring him out and
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
not hard to bump it. You can have real on campus. You know what I mean? We actually created this, we're actually running bigger. Created this iPad, created this iPad where it maps. No, it's not like I don't know, it's all of these okay, yeah, the GPS there.
I know.
We'll check these for the first week. Yeah, it's really cool. But also, if you look at Santa Cruz is also a professor here. He started going to college.
I want to take like, because you're not there.
Yeah, my brother did go actually.
And you watch it, actually, probably like around 4 or 5.
Something way different. I got a few days about it.
Watch your feet.
Check out these classes.
Lesson learned on that.
Teddy Cruz.
All right.
Yeah, he's an architect, but he kind of dabbles in everything. So, we're kind of together a lot. So, Thursday, I talk about Thursday. Yeah, we really excited. I don't know, film. That's what I'm looking at. I'm really interested in kind of like media arts, and I actually worked at the Center for a few about a month over the summer, helping with this student.
Are you
programs and stuff there?
There's only a few.
Yeah, some years really
Yeah.
Oh. I'm not sure.
Is there anyone
The festival for your degree? It is, but it was quarter.
Professor Isaac.
Actually, it's really cool stuff. But definitely check us out, and we're
You know who else was saying about we should just do like the girl, one of the girls I know, she wears that groundworks.
So what was her major?
You know what?
No, I know what groundworks is. I don't know if I know her. No.
Except for the film festival. I kind of what I well, right now as executive director, I do everything, marketing, fundraising, managing staff.
I always want to do so many things, so it's
Yeah,
always collaborate.
Yeah, that's what I mean, kind of, that's what we said, like, so we can kind of have discussions with this going on. Yeah, a lot. I remember when I was a kid, everybody, and I was like, here, let me read it all.
That's good, that's why I hope you like, great, that's what I was trying to say, like, I hope like, establishment will start, like,
Kind of have this discussion on it, continuing stuff. So.
I wish I had recorded this entire exchange.
I feel like
For me, it's very fun.
Yeah.
I'm from the East
So like,
Coast, so I
we
didn't even
that the whole
know the
protest
Chicano
and
Movement or anything else. So it's very.
yeah, I did a terrible.
Students get to experience
It's
that.
not like more of a
So it's like they're
definition of what
experiencing like all this, like.
Well, no, as far as like taking some sort of background in it, which I think most of our classmates are here. Most of our classmates are actually, we actually have some sort of background.
I always
We watched a little bit of Chicano, we watched Chicano.
Yeah. You don't actually
You
have
start
any.
getting so active when you're like.
Yeah, the East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah.
Why didn't I do all this before?
Yeah, that's the other problem, so
Yeah.
again, this,
It's
chemistry,
tough,
you need
but-
to just trace,
It'll-
you know, like, again, it's more like bush.
Oh, yeah.
It's not as easy to grasp.
I'm not really sure. I'm kind of open to it. That's my
Basically, kind of
Website dedicated to
I was thinking more about how to political approach.
this is more about like middle school website. I got quite a bit to do, so
I mean, sad thing is,
kind of up to what I'm working hard is, grad school works out.
especially
So,
And so it's hanging.
yeah, it's visual arts
part of their free
Anyway, yeah, thank you so much for coming out. Yeah, it's definitely I got a community on the show. Let's talk about it. One second part.
The community took back the freeway, basically not.
Emailed them because it said an email.